Hi, I'm Shonda Cosner. I'm one of the co-founders of Shape Your State, and today I'm excited to be talking to Michael Vanacore, who is the Minister of Congregational Life, Social Justice at Trinity Lutheran Church in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Michael, welcome, and I hope I got your title correct.
Hi, good morning. You knocked it out of the park.
Yay!
Nice to talk to you today, Shonda.
Thank you. We've been doing these web series and conversations with folks who have been organizing different parts of work, whether it's HIV, voting, elections, and faith. And so I'm delighted to talk with you because you have a combination of all those things of organizing and faith leadership. So just to kick things off, I'm just curious to know, why have you dedicated your life to community service, being in faith and in community organizing?
Well, Shonda, I believe that community is the central and the most important place where we as human beings and as groups of people encounter formation and transformation. I think, and also that it's one of the main places where we commit to one another, beyond it being just an idea of a commitment or an idea of a people. It's where we actually commit to flesh and blood, real human beings with all their messiness and all their being complicated. And also I believe that community is the primary place where we as individuals and as groups of people commit to a higher vision for how we want to live our lives, for how we want our communities to be, our surroundings to be, and how we want our society and even the world to be. And so I chose to be an organizer first and then a minister now, because I feel called in my personal vocation to the work of building, fostering, nurturing those spaces of community where we can do that work.
Well, it's certainly messy and complicated, so thank you for lifting that up. I'm curious to know, though, what have you learned? What are key things that you've learned about the human condition when it comes to working on collective work together?
So I think a couple of the things that I've really learned is really how important this work is. These days, this time that we're living in is a time of isolation, of fragmentation, of difficulty. A lot of people are going through a hard time, and these spaces of community, that what I've learned through this work as an organizer now, as a faith leader, is that the spaces where we can come together and where we can hold each other and nurture each other are especially important to combat those senses of dislocation and fragmentation, particularly, I would say, in working class communities like the ones that I've been dedicated to, and also the ones where I come from on a personal level. There's just added layers of pressure that people live through. And so the spaces of community are places to really combat that. I'll give you an example. The church where I'm a minister is a church in Sunset Park, which is an area that's facing massive levels of gentrification in New York City, right? It's a stable working class neighborhood, primarily Puerto Rican, Mexican, also Chinese. And it's just been in the scope of redevelopment, rezoning, redevelopment. And I have members in my church who have been in this church and in this community, who built this community in this church for 40 years, who are having to go back to Ecuador or move out to outer boroughs or out of the city or to the south, other places where they could more afford to live. This community is being fragmented as we speak. And so this church that's been here for a long time is an essential place for people to remember who they are, remember who their people are, and really cultivate a vision for themselves, not having to be displaced and then maybe even deported or some other more horrible form of dislocation.
Thank you. That's a really great example, and it resonates with me because I don't think, you might recall, I wrote a piece about the Trail of Tears related to gentrification, and I feel like that's something that's happening in every community. Like in Washington, D.C., there was an article in the Post a few years back where newcomers to the community had suggested that African Americans who come in from Prince George's County take their churches to where they've moved, just not a context of how economics, class, and race plays in breaking down decades of culture. So talk to me a little more about how do you motivate people who are either new to organizing or those who have lost their hope in organizing? Because you know that can happen. You've worked in so many losing campaigns. And sometimes you feel like, you know, I give up. I'm going to be a part of the system now.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think there's, well, there's two ways that I can answer that question, and I'm going to start with me personally, because I think that, and I'll then go to the second piece if you tell me that we have time. So first, I would say there is hope. I've thought a lot about this and I've reflected a little bit. I'm not an old man, but I'm 31 years old, and I've been in this organizing thing since I was just out of college, organizing community things since I was maybe 21 years old. So it's been a little bit of time. And in reflecting and looking back, I really believe that it's crucial for young people or people that are new to this work of organizing to believe that there is hope for you personally, to have a way, that you will have a way forward, that you have a way to do this work of community dedicated work, of justice organizing, that you don't have to sell out, or that you don't have to compromise at a core level your ideals and your identity and what you desire for the world. And I would say for me personally, I was a working class kid. I grew up throwing mud on a construction crew with my old man, with my father. I went to college, and I had this formational experience encountering liberation theology and wanting to work with community. And I found a job as a union organizer. I worked as a union organizer for 5 years, had a wonderful experience. I decided that I wanted to become a minister and went to seminary, and now I have this great job in a wonderful church in Brooklyn, where I get to use my languages and my skills and really be in community and contribute to the struggles that I feel are important. And there have been many times throughout my career and my life when I felt just like I just wanted to give it up, like there wasn't a space for me. But I believe that for those of us that feel called to this work, also from a faith perspective, I believe you have to believe that God is calling you to this work and God will help you find a way. And so on a personal level, I can offer my own story as a way to say, don't give up if you feel discouraged, and get into it if you feel like you want to.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate your time this morning. And I'm going to say it one more time. Michael Vanacore, Minister of Congregational Life and Social Justice at Trinity Lutheran Church in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. So go and visit. And if you have any questions, need to follow up, you can reach out to us at shapeyourstate.com. Also, we have tips on how to get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shonda. It's been wonderful talking with you this morning.
Bye.
Take care.